to start that frenzy. I mean, it's, as the rates start to come down, we don't have a lot of product, so there's not going to be a lot to buy, so people will be fighting over product again, and that's why I keep saying I would get in sooner than later, because as the rates come down, we're going to have an inventory problem again, and people are just going to be fighting over homes.
So where's our market at right now? This past week, are we seeing more listings? Are we seeing...
Well, we're almost at 4,000 listings, which is, I say it as that's a ton of listings, but
not really for spring, though. Huh?
No, it's not for spring, but it's a lot compared to where we were, and so that's optimistic. I mean, I look at some of the listings we're
Is it though? Is it optimistic?
I look at some of the listings that we're carrying right now, and we're upwards. I mean, at one point we're at 150, 160. We're at 70, so we're carrying 70 listings right now, and
are any of those people struggling and they have to get out of their homes?
Yeah, of course. There's some that they can't afford their home, they got to get out. Like I mentioned before, I hate seeing this, but we're seeing a lot of people that are getting out of home ownership and getting into the rental game, which absolutely sucks. I hate seeing that. But yeah, we're dealing with some people who have to sell.
And is it their hope that it'll be short term and they'll be able to get back into the market?
Yeah, the problem is I have some friends who actually did that, and they can't get back into the market now, right? With the rates the way they are, they can't qualify, they can't get back into the market, and they're now trapped in the rental game, paying $2,500, $2,700, $2,800 a month, plus utilities, plus, and by the time your month's done, there's not a lot of disposable income to save in order to have a down payment again. So I hate to see it, but it is happening.
I had a call from a gentleman yesterday. Again, this is where it's different than what you're saying, but it's because of the circumstances. In their 70s. So, while his wife was much younger.
By age?
But, by age, yeah. And,
not 80s.
For them, they have a nice home, Carlingwood area, probably worth $1 million. I mean, he said 800. I said, I think it's going to be closer to $1 million. Because I think he said it was 800 before the pandemic. I said, if it was 800 before the pandemic, it's not 800 today. But anyway, he said, we don't have a mortgage, but we want to downsize maybe a 1-2 bedroom condo. And I said, he goes, I might buy, but I might rent. I'm thinking I might rent, because if I can get $1 million and put it in a bank account, even if I took 150 and put it in a fund account where we could travel, do everything else, the return I would get on that 800,000 would easily cover the cost of my condo, my rent. So in essence, I'd be in the same position. So I think we're starting to see a lot of older golden years, Steve. I mean, I'm sure you think this way.
That's pretty much what Steve did, right? He sold his big home on the water and he rents now. Yeah, golden years, yeah. But you're not wrong. And listen, I'm as I'm starting to age, I'm
oh yeah, in his 40s.
I'm about to be 50. But it's something that I think about too, is how long do I really want to be in home ownership, and will I eventually want to go, cash in and rent something and
come and go
and like
I could just see Paul complaining to his landlord.
Yeah, exactly. But like, how many roofs do I want to fix? How many fridges do I want to fix? How many leaks do I want to fix?
Well, you don't fix them. You just call somebody. So now you're going to have to do that when you rent.
All I'm saying is I'm a big proponent of doors. Own. Get as many doors as you possibly can. So I'm not changing my tune, but I'm not disagreeing with Frank that as people start to age a little bit, renting is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
Where's the cottage industry right now? Like, to my mind, I would see people in their golden years getting into a condo, but keeping a cottage or buying a cottage to have somewhere to go in the summer. Are we seeing any of that?
Well, I mean, you can only have so much waterfront, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of people that, when cottages come up, they do sell quite quickly. Problem being is there's a lot of people that don't have a lot of disposable income. So they're not looking for that second home and stuff like that. But you're right. So my plan is eventually to live at my cottage, sell my home, and have a place in Florida in the winter months and live at the cottage. And I think there's a lot of people that are doing that. There's a lot of people that live at the cottage and that is their home.
What about cottages as investments? Can you be cash flow positive with a cottage now, renting it? Because you rent it out for more, but over a shorter period of time. Can you be cash flow positive with a cottage?
100% cash flow positive. Cottages are a cash cow when it comes to investment.
But you got to give up prime time to get the biggest bang for your buck, right?
But if you're
but I'm talking strictly investment.
Strictly investment is different.
Yeah, strictly investment. I think it's an amazing investment. But you're right. If you years and years and years ago, I had a cottage on the Quebec side, and I used to rent it out July and August, and it would basically cover my mortgage for the year. The problem being is I gave up July and August, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't have the cottage because you want to spend time there.
Yeah.
As an investment, plus you don't get a bad tenant for more than a week or two.
Smart investment. It's a smart investment, and I mean, there's, you could get upwards of, depending on how many bedrooms and where you are and stuff like that. I've seen people renting these things out for $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a week. It's a cash cow. It's a cash cow if you can pick up an investment. But then again, you're in the, unless you get a cleaning crew to do everything for you and stuff like that, you're now in the maintenance business and turning over. And keep in mind, people are, when they're renting a cottage for a week, they're not going up usually to have a nice quiet little read. They're going up to party and have friends over and stuff like that, and boating and canoeing and everything. But it's still, it is probably one of the only cash flow positive investments in Ottawa.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. It's cash flow positive.
Yep.
With all of these problems we're hearing about tenants and landlords right now, you alleviate that problem.
Yeah.
Because they're gone in a week or 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep. It's a smart investment.
So how many do you have?
Hey, now let's talk about the frenzy you talked about, where at this time last year, Bank of Canada has halted the prime rate increase, and we saw this lift in property values and this. Now, I think the difference between last year and this year is that inflation hadn't quite capped yet, and there was still an abundance of people that had savings left over from the pandemic that allowed them to continue to live the lifestyle the way they were accustomed to. But what we've seen in the last 12 months is that people now are pulling back, less traveling, less items that you can do without, let's just call them. So, I think that if interest rates come down this time around, I'm not sure the real estate frenzy is going to be as crazy as it was just a short 12 months ago. That's how much things change over a 12-month period. So I do think the prices are going to go up. But that's why I don't believe the 10% number. Listen, it could still happen. I just don't believe it because I just think that it's so expensive to live outside of just your home that's what's going to pull people back.
I don't believe I'm going to say this because this pains me.
No.
Pains.
You said it 4 times already. Make it a 5th.
50. He's going to be 50.
Yeah, that's true.
Frank is right. Frank, you are right. Oh my God. Oh man. Give me a garbage, Craig. I need to vomit. Yes, Frank is right. We will see an increase. I personally don't think we're going to see that 10% that people are predicting. We're already at 5, but I predict that we're probably going to be somewhere in the 5 to 6% range, somewhere in that.
Still a good return.
It's still a great return, but yeah, we're not going to see what we saw at the start of 2022, when we went up, 22% one year, 19.9% the year after. The year before that, we went up 8.4%. So, we went up 50% in 3 years. Yeah, those days it's not happening yet in our lifetime.
And the average value of homes today, 3% or 4%, is like it was pre-pandemic, 8 or 9%. Like that's the amount that it translates to. So when the average home was $450 and you got a 3% return, you were getting $12,000. Today, the average home is $700. You're getting it's $28,000.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference there. So I think the 3-4 is a nice, healthy number that I think could allow the housing market to continue to thrive. But if we see the 10%, I think it's going to pull the housing market back.
Yeah, I think it will too, and we might see more rate increases if that happens, if they want to slow down the housing market. I think a nice healthy market is somewhere in the 3 to 5%.
Yeah, but nobody's saying 10% in this area.
No.
The 10% forecast are Canada.
That's Canada-wide.
Toronto, Vancouver, and they figure Toronto this year is going to overtake Vancouver for most values.
Which seems absurd. It just does. I mean, there's more homeless people in Toronto. Every time I visit Toronto, there's more homeless people than the time before. It's absurd to me that Toronto continues to do what it does. It just goes beyond anything that's expected.
There's more immigrants going to Toronto than anywhere in Canada right now. And let's be honest, immigrants are coming over with some money, right? So they're spending, and there's more people going to Toronto than anywhere in Canada.
Alberta's getting their fair share, actually. Alberta's population's gone up quite nicely because it's more affordable than Toronto is. And there is employment in Alberta, which has worked out really well for them.
Yeah. All these people have to retire somewhere too, though. That's why I'm thinking this area here.
Maritimes are the place to go to retire. A lot of people are transitioning back to the Maritimes for retirement.
Even the prices in the Maritimes are starting to skyrocket.
But compared to here, compared to
Toronto? Here, it's cheap. I mean, you could get. I remember years ago, my assistant Jocelyn, her parents had a place out east, and it was a gorgeous place on the water. And I remember she's like, yeah, it's worth about $200,000. And at the time, I'm like, that would be about $1 million here. What do you mean $200,000?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they are now, but I do know
210.
Yeah, but I do know the prices out in the East Coast are actually starting to go up as well.
521 Talk 521-8255. Our last segment with a young Paul Rushforth coming up next.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA. Ottawa's home for live, local, breaking news. The Vassy Capello Show keeps you informed.
We don't think that the carbon tax is the right instrument at this time.
Hard-hitting interviews. What do you think the government should be doing to convince Canadians? Entertaining analysis and lively debate.
We have been clear with Canadians.
We have the benefit on this show of getting so many people who call in.
Plus, breaking news as it comes into our newsroom.
And they are not convinced of that.
The Vassy Capello Show, weekdays at noon.
News Talk 580 CFRA. Live, local, breaking news, weather, and traffic.
Looking for a unique gift? A special piece for your home? Check out the Eastern Ontario Craft and Gift Market. You never know what you'll find. Over 90 talented vendors offering a variety of products and services, many homemade. From jewelry and jams to pottery and pictures and everything in between. Plus free admission and parking, door prizes, live entertainment, goodies for the kids, and a raffle in support of the Ottawa Food Bank. The Eastern Ontario Craft and Gift Show, today from 10 to 4 at the Nepean Sportsplex, halls A and B.
Inflation is hitting us all right now. Everything is up except your portfolio. It's time to up your investments as well. Wouldn't it be nice to get a statement you're not afraid to open? With a target rate of return of 8%, Advanced Mortgage Investment Corporation, AMIC, may be the perfect addition to your portfolio. Your preferred shares will pay dividends you won't be afraid to look at. The best way to fight inflation? A solid rate of return. Learn more at advancedmic.com.
Big news from Explore. We've upgraded our network so you can get ultra-fast internet speeds up to 100 megabits per second. So you'll hear less of this on movie night.
Ugh, suck again.
Have less calls like this.
You're frozen, Bob.
And much less fighting for your place online.
Stop streaming. I need the internet.
Get big speeds without the big price tag. 100 megabits per second wireless home internet plans with truly unlimited data are now available at Explore. Details at xplore.ca.
Next week on Your Morning, Juno Award-winning Songwriter of the Year, Ace Sanabi on his historic win. Start your morning in the know 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Join us on CTV.
Severance package? I only owe you 2 weeks' pay.
Think you may be owed more? Find out now at employmentlawyer.ca. Answer a few simple questions, and in seconds, you'll receive free answers for your workplace issues. Go to employmentlawyer.ca. Learn how severance is really calculated, and find out how to get what you're legally owed. Always check with the employment lawyer, Lior Samfiru, first at employmentlawyer.ca.
A little more. A little more.
Parking should be simple.
Good. A little more.
Quickly submitting and tracking a claim on the Bel Air Direct app actually is simple.
A little less.
Bel Air Direct. Insurance simplified.
Truck Month is on now at GMC. Get into the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Go like a pro with an available 5.3-liter V8 engine. Look like a pro with stylish 20-inch high-gloss black wheels. And even sound like a pro with the available Bose premium audio system. Well, maybe just look like a pro. Conditions apply. Visit gmcoffers.ca for details.
This is an encore presentation on News Talk 580 CFRA.
We return to Open House, the real estate and mortgage show on News Talk 580 CFRA.
Welcome back. All right, we talked a lot about first-time home buyers. Are people moving up these days? Are they taking their existing mortgage and porting it and getting something a little bit bigger?
If they could. I mean, that's the ideal scenario. Support We've got numerous clients that are still 2 years away at 1.79. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But there's scenarios where they can't port it. An example, we had one this week where a gentleman has a 1.79 mortgage, 2 years left, but he became self-employed just a short 9 months ago, and therefore the bank will not allow his father-in-law to be the guarantor. They want him to be a co-signer, and the father-in-law adamantly said not a chance. So he had to give up his 1.79, be able to get a mortgage on the new house that they want with the father as with the father-in-law as guarantor, because he had no choice, because the bank would only allow for the father-in-law to be a co-signer, and the father-in-law wants nothing to do with co-signing.
So not because he was porting, but because he was porting and needed more.
Well, even if you're porting. So I think a lot of people think if you port your mortgage, you're automatically approved. It doesn't work that way. Anytime you buy a new house, you're going through the application process again. So you still need to qualify. Port is because you've got an existing mortgage with an advantageous interest rate that you want to take with you, but it doesn't preclude you from having to qualify again for a mortgage.
But you've been approved for that mortgage.
No, you've been approved. Yes, you've been approved for that mortgage on that specific property under the circumstances at the time that you got approved for a mortgage. If you're buying another house today, you need to go through the whole qualifying process all over again. So,
but even if you're not adding to the mortgage,
the port is just the bank saying, hey, you signed the contract at this interest rate for this amount of time, it's portable. It does not have anything to do with the qualification. The qualification's totally different.
Yeah, but if the value of your new house is greater and you're only
doesn't matter. You need to qualify again.
Does it make? I'm going to change these rules. I don't like this.
I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying that those are the rules today. There's a lot of rules that don't make any sense in our industry right now. Way too many of them to even talk about on the show. I take a whole hour of the show. So many of them don't make any sense, but it's not about, and I say to clients all the time, common sense has been out the window since that stress test got introduced, because OSFI went to the banks, and now the other thing, this 4.5 to 1 ratio, your income, you can only get 4.5. OSFI's giving out a little bit more details all the time. I mean, it doesn't come into effect until November, but they're giving out details where they're going to allow a bank to have a certain number that's over the 4.5, but they're going to be auditing them on a quarterly basis. And if they get too high on that number, they're going to tell them you can't do them anymore. So that's, those are the kinds of things that we're seeing in our industry right now, which really are meant to protect the banks and protect the financial system in Canada, but it really hinders, and there's some unfairness to it sometimes, because, you've got a self-employed person who makes a lot of money but doesn't necessarily pay themselves a lot, and all of a sudden they're on that scope where they don't qualify to get a mortgage or to get additional financing because they're above the 4.5 and the bank won't be able to do. That's the kind of stuff that we need to get rid of.
Wow.
But we are still seeing those move-up buyers. Like, it's happening. There's a lot of people that had a lot of disposable income during COVID, and there's a lot of businesses that thrived during COVID. So there's still that market for the move-up buyers.
There's people that make money on those homes.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of people that are, the luxury market is still thriving. Every segment of the market is thriving. We're seeing the stronger markets are usually the older areas than the new areas, and it's because there's so much building and product going on. Even though I said at the start of the show we're not getting enough shovels in the ground, but there is a lot of builders in suburbia. A lot of builders.
I'm seeing a lot of cranes in town too.
Well, listen, where does a builder make money?
Moving up.
More doors and go up, right? So that's what builders are doing. I mean, the townhomes, terrace homes, condos, apartments. That's where the builders make the money. These big 3,000 square foot singles.
There isn't such a thing as a freehold going up, is there? Do they all have to be condos, or? I'm just curious. I mean, that's the one thing that people say to me. I don't want to buy condos because I don't want to be stuck with $400, $500, $600 condo. Is there a way to get a 2-bedroom
without the fees?
Without the fees?
No, because you're sharing everything. You're sharing the electricity in the common areas. You're sharing. So no, there's no way to.
But there are cheaper ones, right? There are areas where they only take care of the outside. And
oh yeah, like a lot of areas in suburbia where you have a lot of these tract builders. The condo fees will be relatively inexpensive, but they don't cover much. They're going to cover snow plowing, grass cutting,
roof,
maintenance, but they're not covering a lot of extra stuff. And those condo fees might be, anywhere from $130 to $170. You don't have to have one of these high-rise condominiums where your condo fees are, $600, $700, $800, $900 a month. There's a reason they're $600, $700, $800, $900 a month.
Yeah, because if you're in a smaller place, you're not getting the pool, you're not getting the exercise
Yeah.
room, you're not getting all that.
Yeah.
Birthdays, Frank?
Yep, got a few. Lionel Dykman, our South African IT guy, celebrating his birthday this week. My beautiful niece, Nadia, celebrating her birthday. As well as longtime family friend, Maria Cucinato Ranieri, celebrating her 60th birthday today. So happy birthday. And I just want to give a little shout out for a poker tournament that I'm holding in honor of my dad. I'm hoping we can get Paul and Steve out because there'll be some extra prizes if you can knock them out of the game.
For seniors?
But poker tournament, you can go to mortgagebrokersottawa.com/charity. It's held on May 10th and raising money for, and my dad was big at the giving back to the community, so raising money for the hospice, Ottawa Food Bank, and Villa Marconi.
Is there not another birthday?
Yeah, is there nobody else? Is there anybody else who want to wish a happy birthday
Well,
to
it's
Frank?
still
Anybody?
10 days away, so we were going to do it next
But we
week.
won't see him.
Yeah, but we'll hear him. Somehow he's going to call in.
I'll be calling in from Mexico. I might not sound great, but I'll be calling in.
But speaking of next week, we've got a special guest, Tanya Woods, who is government relations for Quest Trade. She'll be in studio since Paul won't be. She'll be in studio with us, and we're going to be talking about the budget that comes out on Tuesday, and she'll break it down for us. That'll be an awesome show.
No birthdays?
I still never heard anyone wish me happy birthday.
Well, we are next week.
We're waiting until after you do your birthday.
Yes.
To give it the time it deserves. Oh, we're out of time.
I'm good.
Happy birthday, Paulie.
Yes,
Thank you.
last show in your 40s.
Yeah,
Wow.
thank you guys.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Have a great week.
Hi, this is Kelsey and Jim from BeanCars.ca. April is truck month, and we have 200 new ones to choose from. 0% financing to 60 months on some units, $6,500 discount on some units, and great 24-month lease deals on others. Pick out your truck and get all your incentive options at BeanCars.ca. And the best part of truck month, the amazing trades we get. 50 used trucks and SUVs online at BeanCars.ca.
Looking for a unique gift? A special piece for your home? Check out the Eastern Ontario Craft and Gift Market. You never know what you'll find.